Hey there, this is Lynn. Today is November 11th, 2024, and I've just completed 77 weeks on the carnivore diet. And I've lost over 100 pounds, and I have been in what I would consider a stall. It's been a little while, and I feel as though I need to do some tweaking and figuring things out because my weight has been up and down several pounds, but it's not really going anywhere, and it's been way too long. And I've mentioned this before, but I think that when I hit that 100-pound mark of weight loss, I got, I think, a little cocky and overconfident and started adding some other carnivore foods back that I hadn't been eating before. And I have been noticing that some of my more addictive personality traits are kicking in, and also some of the thinking like, well, it's just not fair that other people can eat these things and I can't. That thinking has been kind of creeping in, not related to carbs, but just related to some other carnivore foods. And so even though my gut is tolerating things, my mast cell activation syndrome is not being flared up by some of the things that I've been eating, and whereas in the past it used to. I'm thinking that my body not wanting to lose weight and hanging on to the weight is telling me that I really shouldn't be eating these foods. And I'm struggling with that because I've been enjoying them a little bit too much. And, I talk about before how easy it is to justify eating something that you shouldn't eat. It's something that I don't struggle with when it comes to carbs or sweets anymore. I don't have that problem anymore. But now I'm finding it's kicking in with carnivore foods that I shouldn't eat. Other people may be fine with them, but I shouldn't eat them. And I've been making the mug breads, and I mentioned that in a video 1 or 2 weeks ago, and it does have cheese in it. And so I'm not eating it every day, but I have been eating it. So I've held on to that last little bit of dairy. I think it's time to let it go. I have been eating the bacon and eggs, and which are, higher in histamine. So I don't know if maybe I'm promoting some inflammation in my body. Again, my gut has been fine with them, but I have to look at the fact that my weight is not doing what it should do. And it's not like the 100+ pound weight loss was not wonderful, and it is. I just don't want to gain it back. And I know I have about 50 more pounds to go before I get to what's considered healthy weight. So I'm not where I need to be yet. And I hope that this is just a hiccup and I can work on the mental part of getting over this hiccup. Another thing I've also struggled with is the conversation surrounding adding fat. I am hearing, and you probably are hearing this too, that, okay, we need to add fat. It's important for healing. It's important for hormones. And then I hear the other side, that if you have plenty of fat on your body, you don't need to add fat. So from a weight loss perspective, I have found that whenever I add more fat, my weight doesn't drop, or maybe I gain. Now, I did that this past week, and I'm off of caffeinated coffee, but I've been doing decaf, and this past week I got the heavy cream out of it, but I started back doing butter. I don't think I can do that anymore. I just, I'm one of those people that I add the fat and my body does not like it. It's as far as weight goes. So I'm not happy with this week's results. I'm going to share them in just a moment, but I'm not happy with this week's results. So it's going to be some troubleshooting for me, that's for sure, which I'm up for. But, my strength as far as through this journey has been, I think, easier earlier on. Like once I got over that hump of the sugar addiction, it was pretty easy to stay strong. But I was on the lion diet. And so things have been complicated because I've added some of the things in. And I'm also like having my folate levels low made me go back to eggs. And I'm eating a lot more eggs. I didn't realize this, but I guess eggs have a little bit of carbs in them. I don't know how come I didn't know that. Probably because I hadn't been eating them and I hadn't been tracking. And so I did a day of tracking on an app this past week, and I'm like, wait a minute, eggs have carbs? How did I not know that? Small amount, but they have carbs, and when you eat a whole bunch of them, I mean, I'm sure it adds up. So I'm going to have to really look and see about where I'm at with the egg situation. And so I also am wondering if I'm not eating enough. And that's another one of those conundrums, the fat versus no fat, or, no added fat. The whole thing with, okay, how much fasting do you do? How much intermittent fasting do you do? Do you prime? Do you overeat and allow your body to maybe even gain weight so that you can do a reset and then go into a fast, and then you can lose weight again and reset your body? These are things that right now I'm considering. When I tracked my food the other day, I saw that I'm struggling to get calories, and I normally will eat maybe 2 meals a day, and if I ate my 2 meals a day, I probably would have only gotten about 1,000 calories. So I made sure I ate 3 meals, and I was still only around 1,400 calories, and that's probably too low. And I feel as though everything I hear from people saying your body needs more nutrition than that may be the case, and I may have to work on increasing my calories, which may mean that for a period of time I may gain weight. So all sorts of things going through my head right now about what I need to do to get myself back on track. I want to nourish my body. I want to make sure that I get my sleep fixed, which I'm working on. I got to bed a little after 10 last night, so that was good. But I have a long ways to go with getting my sleep worked out. Exercise, I'm doing just low impact, just walking, working on the step challenge. This week I'm trying to get my steps up to 6,000 steps a day, and I'm doing pretty good so far. I'm pretty consistently now at 5,000, so getting that extra 1,000 hopefully won't be too much of an issue. But not that I think that the exercise is needed. Exercise is needed just for overall health. It's good for cardiovascular health. It's good to get your blood pumping, not be too sedentary. Like I mentioned last week, I was pretty sedentary, so I'm trying to work on that. But this is an interesting phase I'm in. So it's going to be a real learning experience. I'm going to figure out what's going to work for me and what's not. I don't know if I need to go back and do the lion diet again. We're going to see. But I did also start the 2 supplements. I got them in the mail, the 2 supplements that the naturopathic doctor wanted me to start taking. And so 2 days ago, I started to take them. And so the first one is called Homocysteine Supreme. And this is because I guess my homocysteine levels are too high. So, which means I'm not breaking down homocysteine properly in my body. And my understanding of that is that can point to a vitamin deficiency. And we know that I'm already deficient in folate. And the doctor said that she would like to see me higher with my vitamin B12 as well, that I am suboptimal in her eyes with B12. And so this product contains a bunch of B vitamins, which does include the methyl. It's really, really small print here, but it's a form of methylfolate that I'm going to be taking as well. And so, so this is kind of like more than just methylfolate. It's the proper form of folate that I need in order to actually hopefully get my folate levels up. But this is 2 capsules per day. So I started taking this a couple of days ago. And then secondly, I am taking this product. It's called, I know there's a glare, it's called Safe Cell. And this is a glutathione supplement. It is not the liposomal glutathione, but it is the, I think it's S or 5. Gosh, I can't see the small print. It's not made for people that are older. I think it's S or 5 acetyl glutathione. And the goal is to start slow and work up to 2 capsules twice a day. So I just took 1 capsule the last couple of days. And when I did my genetic testing, I have many genetic variants that affect my homocysteine and the glutathione. So that's why we're focusing on these 2 areas. And the glutathione hopefully will help the continuation of my mold mycotoxin detoxing process. So I do still have inflammation that my body is clinging on to. It is so much better. In fact, my serum tryptase levels were so much better. They had been in the 20s, and it had been forever since they were in the teens, and now I think it was in the low teens now. So things are working out. They're doing well, but inflammation is still hanging on. So I've got to figure it out. And if it's come to the point where I need to look at myself on a genetic level and see where I need to tweak things and where we maybe need some additional support, like these supplements, I'm perfectly willing to do that. I'm not one of these people that are saying everything that I have going on in my body right now at this moment is only curable with the food. I may need these supplements because I do have these genetic variations. I'm sure we all do, but sometimes they're expressing themselves, sometimes they're not. But these are things that I think are expressing themselves in my body. I cannot get rid of that inflammation, even with almost 1.5 years on the carnivore diet. There's still inflammation hanging in there. So this is where factoring in the genetics hopefully will be helpful, and I can get my C-reactive protein levels down where they should be. Honestly, I have never seen my C-reactive protein levels normal. Never. They're always high. Now being at 6, this is the lowest I've seen it in decades. So the carnivore diet is definitely helping for sure. My inflammation is coming down. So we'll see how things go with that. All right, I'm also changing my electrolytes. So I've been using the Element electrolyte, and I'm switching over to a different electrolyte. It is, I forget the name of it, but I ordered it. It is by Dr. Ben Lynch, who is the doctor who created the Stratagene website, and this is the Dirty Genes. This is the workbook, but I ordered the book itself as well because I really want to learn about these genetic variants. But if you go to his website, he has a different electrolyte drink, and it looks like it's pretty clean comparatively to Element. Now, his whole thing is that Element is too high in sodium, and I know there are people who do better with lower levels of sodium. I have been having a lot of sodium because of my orthostatic intolerance, and the cardiologist said I need to have a lot of sodium. But in looking at my latest labs, the naturopathic doctor told me it looks like I'm chronically dehydrated. So I watched an interesting little short that Ben Lynch, and if I can find it, I will link it in the description. And this short convinced me to try a different electrolyte drink. And so he said basically hydration doesn't have as much to do with how much you drink, which is true. It's how much is being absorbed into your cells. And so the question I have for myself is, am I dehydrated on a cellular level? Even when I drink plenty of water, am I dehydrated on a cellular level? I think I am. And, in nursing school, and of course, if you're on any sort of healthcare, you may have learned this, that fluid follows sodium. So if you drink fluid and it absorbs into your system, it gets into your bloodstream, and you have this extra fluid floating around in your bloodstream, it's going to draw fluid into your vascular system. Now, that's great if you have low blood pressure Or if you have issues where, like with my orthostatic hypotension, where the blood pressure does tend to drop, I need to make sure I keep my blood pressure supported. But with fluid being drawn out, where is it drawn from? It's drawn from the interstitial tissues. It can be drawn from the cells to get into the vascular system. So it's really important to make sure that I'm not cellularly dehydrated. I don't mind the fluid being drawn out from those interstitial spaces quite as much, especially if I'm retaining fluid there. We do need fluid there, but we don't need excessive fluid. But the question is, am I dehydrated on a cellular level? So I do notice that I still struggle with fatigue, not nearly as much as I did before. It's not life-altering fatigue, but I do struggle with fatigue, and that could be, again, because my sleep cycle is not really good. So the jury's still out on how much my sleep cycle is creating for the fatigue versus how much it could be dehydration or some of these other metabolic pathway abnormalities. There's so many variables here. I don't know for sure how well I'm going to be able to figure it out, but I hate to tackle all these things at once, but it seems that that's what's going to happen because I've got the supplements I'm taking. I'm going to switch the electrolytes. I'm going to get my sleep worked out. I'm going to get my diet stricter again. And hopefully all of those things together will work out. And those may be things that I just need to continue doing. But the electrolyte drink that I ordered is higher in potassium and magnesium and a little bit lower, actually quite a bit lower in sodium. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to see if that will drive the fluid into my cells because the potassium and the magnesium will drive fluid into your cells. And he said that if with this electrolyte, you're not going to be peeing it all out, which is very common when you're drinking a lot of fluid. So I am waiting for it to be shipped. I ordered it. I don't know if it's going to get here in time for me to report back by next week on how it's going. But as soon as I get it, I'm going to start using it. In the meantime, I am not going to be using the element. I'm going to lower my sodium and I'm going to see how I do. So I get it. Those are a lot of variables, which is completely unscientific. But I'm going to do it anyways. So, all right. Well, I'm going to let you listen to a message from my friend Kerry Mann, and then I will be back to go over my actual results.
Hey everyone, Kerry here, and you are currently watching one of my favorite YouTube channels. So great job. But if you need just a little bit more inspiration on your healing journey, we have a new membership site that I'm excited to share with the world. It is at healinghumanity.life. There is a link with a special promo code offer in the description below. At our membership site, you can be inspired to find a path to healing. We have courses that you can take at your own pace. We have an amazing community. We do multiple Zoom calls per week. We even bring in the good doctors, experts for your Q&As. Most of all, we have an amazing community that's here to support you, keep you motivated, and keep you inspired. Learn more at the link in the description below, healinghumanity.life.
All right. Oh, and I also wanted to mention that I am in a group called Breaking Addictions. It is on the Healing Humanity Life website, the member group, and it just started last Friday. And we had our second meeting today. We're meeting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. my time on Pacific Standard Time. And so I'm really hoping too that this group is going to help me because addictive personalities it's hard to fix them. It really is because, you go from one addiction to another, right? It may be food, it may be alcohol, it may be, one thing or the other, but in a lot of cases, it's coffee with a lot of people. It's when you have an addictive personality, it's very easy to just trade one addiction for another. And so I'm hoping that this group's going to be really good in helping me just to break the addiction habit and quit going from one addiction to another. It's like so easy to do, but I know that it's possible to break it. Okay, on to my results for this week. Not happy at all. So I weighed in at 234.8. So I gained 2.2 pounds over this past week. And it's interesting because the other day I told my husband, I feel like I'm gaining weight. Like I can feel it on my belly. I just felt kind of bloated. Yeah, my pants are fitting a little bit tighter. And so it's kind of discouraging that I gained that much weight because I gained a little bit last week too. So here I am 2 weeks in a row, gaining some weight. So, again, it's not considered officially a trend, but it's not something that's making me happy, that's for sure. My fat-free body weight, again, stayed exactly the same. So those little variables that go into the fat-free body weight, the muscle, the bone, the fluids, all of that, they just kind of keep trading places. And sometimes one's up and the other's down. And so I have a net change of 0. And it's been that way for a while now. My muscle mass went up by 0.2, which is good. I've been working on using my muscles more, and I did talk about doing that before, and I am working on that. So I'm glad my muscle mass went up by 0.2. My bone mass stayed exactly the same. And so in order to have a net 0 change in my fat-free body weight, with my muscle mass going up by 0.2, that means the fluid has gone down by 0.2. Despite that, gaining weight, gaining fat. So, obviously that whole scale gain was fat. And I'm guessing that it has to do with all this butter I'm eating because my body is not pulling from my fat stores. It's just using the fat I'm feeding myself. So I'm going to cut it out this week. Hopefully that's going to solve the problem. We shall see. Let's see. My metabolism bumped up just a little bit. It had gone down, so it's bumped up just a little bit. So that's good. I'm glad to see that. I have been doing a decent amount of walking. So yeah, not super happy this week. And this is just my latest challenge, is getting out of this 230s. I want to get into the 220s and see things headed back in the right direction. I have been watching some videos from people talking about their weight stalls. And I've been listening to Anita from Ketogenic Woman talking about her weight stalls. And it is encouraging to listen to other people talk about it because it just reaffirms to me that I'm not the only one that this happens to. This happens to most people. It's very rare to have someone who gets to their goal weight and never experiences a weight stall. So I'm just at that part in the journey. This is par for the course. It's another challenge to get through, and I'll get through it. And so so for those of you who follow Lindy and I with our fitness challenge, we're doing a step challenge for this 4-week period. And we are, because of her schedule, she's gotten very busy. We're having to kind of juggle and switch around our days. So we're going to be meeting, I think it was going to be Wednesday. And it's going to be a different time of the day. So I'm going to go ahead and get that booked. You'll see, if you look on my channel, you'll be able to see it upcoming under the live tab. Hopefully sometime today I'll get that booked so you can see, but I'm pretty sure it was going to be on Wednesday. So, all right, I think that's it. I like to quickly go and remind you that I've got these 2 books that have been published by myself and Amy Hosp. This is a comic book, activity book, coloring book for young children to teach them about the carnivore diet. We have beef, bacon, and butter and eggs, which are the superhuman power foods. They are superheroes. And then we have this book, which is Sugar Cubie, the Sugar Monster, and the Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity, which is a storybook starring Dr. Barry's kids. And there's Beckett and Bonnie. And there's Granny Barry. who is a real person, Dr. Barry's grandmother, who's I think 96, 95, 96. Anyways, link in the description below. These books go to support a good cause. The comic book goes to support Healing Humanity documentary, and the storybook goes to support Dr. Barry's new organization, the American Diabetes Society. Alrighty, I think that's it for this week. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I know that I have my regulars who are always so encouraging. I know that it's so comforting to know that I have this support through even this hurdle that I'm currently working on overcoming. Alrighty, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.